Bet you thought the COVID got me. It didn't. Maybe you thought the Chinese sent some of their goons to come get me. They did, but they were surprisingly incompetent. But it did make for some great interrogation video. Life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? So it's been a while since I posted a video, but this video needs to be put out right now. Actually, I should have put it out 2 or 3 weeks ago. Time just didn't permit. And I'm going to warn you, this may sound crazy to a lot of you, but it's all going to start to make sense once we get to the end of the video. You should be able to start putting some of the puzzle pieces together. But in short, we've been played. You've been played. I've been played. We've all been played. We're all in the same boat. And also in one of my previous videos, we talked about a big tech to of this country. And you're going to learn why. All videos are processed using that identify keywords. I also know they can identify. So if they're going to, I'm going to try and up my game. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't, but it's worth a shot. So to start off, I want to tell you where I'm getting all of this information. The first time I heard this, it was from a retired Green Beret who said they taught them these during their training many years ago. Now, you may have seen this shirt in several of my videos in the past and wondered what that's all about. Hopefully you've already looked it up and found out what it's about. But it's an organization that combats, and it's ran by a man named, I followed Craig very closely for the past 3 to 4 years, just trying to vet him out and see if it's a trustworthy organization that we could support. And I'll give you a little brief insight into Craig's past to kind of establish some credentials. First of all, Craig's a former DevGru operator. DevGru is more commonly known as SEAL Team 6. To dig a little deeper into that, most of the guys that go to SEAL Team 6 are selected from the other SEAL teams, so they're already bad to the bone. Of those chosen to go to selection, only 50% of those complete selection and can go on to be a member of SEAL Team 6. He was also one of the original 33 in place when happened. After happened, they expanded the program immensely, and Craig ended up managing a large group, if not all of the other ones put in place. There's also several other things he's done, including security for many of our, but honestly the list is too long to cover here. So after following Craig for a while, I will say this. If he called up and said, "Gear up, we're heading out tomorrow," I'm in. I wouldn't even have to ask why. I trust him that much. So recently, I heard Craig mention the same mentioned previously by the retired Green Beret. It really opened my eyes to what's going on around us. So I felt like I might share this with you and help clarify some things. Maybe it'll help calm any type of fears you may have about what's going on in our country today. So what I'm sharing with you today is just an accurate echo of what Craig is saying, but I'm trying to condense it down from about a 2-hour video to something a little more manageable. So I can't take credit for any of this information, but I will say if every American had this, most of the we see in the United States would go away. And to top that off, I don't want you to trust me on this. I want you to go out and do your own just to verify what I'm telling you is true. So here we go. So back in the 50s, a man named, who was a former, defected from, and traveled to Canada to warn them about the tactics was planning to use to their country. Canada wouldn't listen. Then he came to America to warn us as well. You can still find online. If you search for, you can find them. He gave us a list of used to turn a country towards. So after World War II, realized they couldn't take us over by traditional tanks and other traditional weapons wouldn't get the job done. The main reason for this was our culture, our belief system, love for our fellow, and absolute made us such a close-knit society. We were unstoppable. They realized the only way was to divide us. Now, today it's not necessarily pushing these on us. Instead, there are several that have read playbook and are now using these tactics. They control about half of the, totaling around $500 trillion, and believe we should be under. You may or may not recognize some of these names. Please do your homework and familiarize yourself with them. Just to name a few. Alone funds around, including, there's also an interview with him online talking about helping thee locate thee during thee so they could be. He said it was, quote unquote, one of the proudest moments of his life. That, my friends, is what I call, there again, don't take my word for it, look it up. So before you think I'm totally crazy, some of you may already be there, but anyway, let me tell you about some of these points of the, I'm just going to quickly go through the ones that I think are most relevant right now. Here we go. Promote thee as the only hope for mankind. This is to usher in the one and its own separate military force. We're big proponents of this. Next one. Do away with all. These are the oaths most public servants take to defend the United States. They don't want that. They don't want loyal. And they know by breaking down loyalties, they can usher in. All right, next point. Capture one or both of the in the U.S. Well, they pretty much have that in the bag. It doesn't take a genius to see that. I'm paraphrasing just a little bit on this one just to make it simpler to understand. But basically it says, claim everything is a violation of. Do we hear anything going on today about they are purposely trying to pit different against each other? One problem that exists in our country is everyone lives in their own little bubble. A certain number of friends, a few acquaintances, and that's pretty much it. Once you get out of your bubble, though, and travel to some different areas of the United States, you start to realize the majority of those people are virtually the same as you are. I'm obviously a very leaning guy, but I've had several good conversations with that didn't think that much differently than I do. Sure, some of their ideas were more radical than mine, but we didn't hate each other over it. And we sure didn't try to kill each other over our differences. Instead, we agreed to disagree, shake hands, and visit again next time we meet. And that's the beauty of this awesome nation. But if you listen to them, we're told we need to hate each other. We're told that they hate our guts as well. This reminds me of something I saw several years back, but it was two newspaper articles printed by the same publisher on the same exact date. Same picture on the headline, but one of the headlines made our president out to be a really good guy, painted him in a positive light. The other one painted him in somewhat of a negative light. One paper was sent to the northern United States, the other were sent to the southern United States, and to different areas, I guess, that were more, some areas more left-leaning, some more right-leaning. That really opened my eyes to how tries to keep us divided because they know we're so strong when we're united. So I chased a rabbit trail for a little bit. So let's get back to it. Next point, get control of the and use them as transmission belts for and also soften the curriculum. And if you have school-age kids, you're probably aware of what's going on with their school curriculum. History is being completely from our schools. They really don't want us to know about and how always leads to an uneducated society is easily controlled. And that's why we're here today, to try to stop that from happening. Let's move on. Next point. The press. Gain control of editorial writing and policy making. Next point. Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Here's another assignment for you. Research This was an operation put in place in the 1950s. They recruited leading American journalists for purposes pushing views. I'll let you research that further, but even they confirmed this operation existed. Also, just for giggles, go to YouTube and search "Media Says Same Thing." You'll see a montage of different TV clips, same day, different locations, different TV stations, but they're saying the exact same thing as if they're reading off of a script, because they are. Why is that? It's because the is being fed to them. Look it up. And by the way, there are no documents showing that was ever discontinued. As far as radio and music are concerned, one of Craig's acquaintances is a former... He sat in a meeting in the late 80s when it was decided that rap was going to take the place of rock and roll as the highest paid genre of music. Pumped hundreds of millions of dollars into the system, propped up several prominent to push there, and obviously they promised wealth to these people. And from the beginning, rap was designed to be to women, which it obviously is. Without a doubt, it objectifies them. What did we honestly think would happen when we let our kids listen to this stuff, and when we promote a cop-killing, drug-dealing, promiscuous lifestyle as a good thing? It makes my blood boil to think of our youth being misled that way. So we better step to the next one. The next point: discredit by degrading all forms of artistic expression. All good sculptures and statues from parks and buildings. Do we see any of that going on today? There again, they don't want us to know about. Next point: all laws governing, by calling them censorship, in a violation of free speech and free press. In my short time on this earth, I have seen the lines of morality shifted in a tremendous way, obviously in the wrong direction. Next point: break down the cultural standard of morality by promoting in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. I don't even think I have to add to that. Next point: present as normal, natural, and healthy. Okay, up to this point, we've realized, obviously, that all of the above points would definitely... This tells me the knows these are by no means natural, healthy, and good. Next point: infiltrate the and replace revealed with try to discredit and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity that doesn't need a religious crutch. So they started mocking our and telling us it isn't true. Before long, others start to believe it. Then some of the original believers grow tired of being, so they never voice their beliefs. I'll say this: for 2,000 years, many have tried to discredit. Hasn't happened yet, and it won't happen. Next point: eliminate or any phase of in the schools on the grounds that it violates separation of... Once again, they know the fastest route to their goal is to the next generation. It's why a large group of our youth, our country... Next point: discredit the by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, and out of step with modern needs. Next: discredit the present them as selfish aristocrats that had no interest in the common man. Next one: belittle all and discourage the teaching of all promoted as bad. Next point: discredit and eventually dismantle. We've seen a lot of there lately, haven't we? Could some of these individuals be plants from the to give a black eye of sorts? I don't know. Might be worth taking a second look. Next one: transfer powers of arrest from the to Pretty interesting. Have we heard anybody talk about the police? Next point. Discredit as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. The sovereign family is the single most powerful to. So let's say a single mom is trying to make ends meet. Single mom, probably the hardest job on the face of the planet. So she's possibly working multiple jobs to make ends meet. By the end of the day, she's exhausted. She's doing the best she can. There may not be enough spare minutes in the day for her to sit her children down and tell them or teach them right from wrong or how to take care of people, anything like that. She's strictly in survival mode, just trying to make it through. That's what we're talking about here. Guys, there are several more points, but I'm going to let you research those on your own. But obviously, they are sugarcoating this under the guise of, but that in itself can never exist. In the history of the world, has never worked. Should we be so arrogant to think it could work here? I think not. Absolute power, absolutely, every single time. So how do we avoid this, you say? We educate our fellow about what's going on, and they're trying to cause us to have for our fellow. If we simply refuse to be tied to refuse to hate other because of their opinions, and for those who want to defend would be powerless. They could not win. Of course, if we just turn to, in the first place, that would fix all of the problems in no time flat, because loving those around us would come a little more naturally. And I realize that's probably not going to happen, but I'm not going to hate or judge you if you're not a. That's between you and. So guys, when you love people, you do everything you can to help them out. That's why I'm here today. But to further that even more, I need you to share this with everyone you know. Tell them to share it with everyone they know. Every single one of us needs to hear this at least once in our life. It will make all of us a harder. Catch you guys on the flip side. Love you guys. AP out. And we sure didn't try to kill each other. And we sure didn't try to kill each other over